Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of That's a Fact, the DJ edition. I'm so excited to be featuring alongside Miss OG and Burning It Up. We have really exciting questions coming up, and there's just so much to learn about these special women in their artistic journey, and also just the way they go about their things, as well as the way that they curate their DJ sets. And I've listened to each and one of them, and all I want to do is just dance. Like, I really just want to dance and groove and all of that. So I'm gonna hand the floor over to Laverne, aka Burning It Up, to introduce herself in terms of who she is, what she does, and where she comes from.
Okay, so yeah, my name's Burning It Up, aka Laverne Flores. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, born and bred, and yeah, I'm known as an R&B DJ mostly. Starting to change my sound, but I mean, you will hear that soon. I'm a 9 to 5 is my fashion. I'm in fashion corporate, so trying to bring music and clothing closer together. And yeah, I love music and I just love curation, and I'm really enjoying this journey.
That's amazing, Laverne. Lynn, aka Miss OG, please tell us more about yourself, who you are, what you do, where you come from.
Hey everyone, so I go by the name of Miss OG, also known as Lynn, and I'm a DJ as well as a makeup artist. That's my 9 to 5. I do quite a lot of things, but yeah, that's my other hustle that I do. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa as well.
Nice, represent. All three of us are from Cape Town. That's good to know. Yeah. We could have had this in person, but obviously the circumstances permit that, or prohibit us from meeting in person. Anyway, side note, keep safe, everyone. So the way this works, obviously, is, wow, it's been a long time since this has happened, actually, but the way this works is that we have a question session where each person answers the questions around the topic of the moment in their own time and without any interruption, and within their own expression, the way they really want to. Please go ahead and use curse words if you want. Please go and we want you here. So we are going to do that, and then we are going to have a general discussion about what everyone has said at the end, because it's really important that we discuss what has been said and reevaluate what is being said, so that we can draw perspective. So I'm going to begin with the first question, which is, what influenced you to get into DJing? Let's start with Burning It Up.
Okay, so I've always wanted to be a DJ, actually. It's like one of those things that you say, oh, one day I want to learn Italian, or, that kind of thing. And Facebook actually reminded me the other day of a photo in 2011 where I was standing behind a DJ controller with headphones, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I've always kind of manifested this. Like I felt so strong about that moment, and I was like, one day I want to do this. And it wasn't until 2018, after going to one of the best Rocking the Daisies selection stage, I'm sure it will attest, where I was like, you know what, I've been immersed. It was 2 days of the most amazing DJs around the world, and I was like, I need to do this. And then I focused on putting my energy to getting a controller, learning, starting with on virtual DJ. And I took my time in the bedroom with playing for myself and curating and all of that, learning the skill. And in 2020, March, I started my first gig right before lockdown. So yeah, it's been an interesting live journey with DJing. But it's never the perfect time, or too late or too early. You just got to start. So yeah.
That's an incredible story, and you really just nipped the bud before all of the chaos happened.
Yeah.
Over to Miss OG. Tell us about what influenced you to go into DJing?
So I used to be a part of an event called Versatile Minds with two other friends of mine. And we started that in November 2017. And the event was focused on art, music, and design. And the guys were like, yo, we need a female DJ on this lineup. We can't just have males. And I was like, they were like, Lynn, you have to do it. I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know if I could do this. And the event happened and I played my first gig. So it was never really like, maybe it was something that I considered doing, but there was never really, I guess, someone to push me to be like, yo, let's just do this. And because I was a part of that event, the guys were just like, let's do it. I played, I did the first opening slot, and I did a post on Instagram. And after that, the rest is history. I just got booked by people that never heard me play before. So that was actually a crazy, crazy journey. But I'm still here doing it and loving it, and don't regret, doing it.
That's so great. And if I may just pop in another question there, was this something that you always wanted to do from the beginning, from early in life?
Well, I guess. So I'm the youngest. I have two siblings, and I got two older brothers. And my eldest brother, we have an 8-year gap between us. And I used to go clubbing with him and his friends all the time. And I guess I was in the event space all the time. And then I dated a DJ, and I was always out and about and being in events. So I guess being in that environment drawn me to, like DJing. But I was never like, okay, today's the day that I'm actually going to do this. So because I was a part of the event, I guess the guys just pushed me and they were like, yo, we know you can do this. Just do it.
Nice. I really wish I could witness you both at this point, like right now, just doing your thing. It's sounding really cool. We've got, different types of sounds within the DJ world, right? I think we need to know a little bit more about what kind of sound you put out into the world with your own performance. So let's start with Miss OG with the question of, or let's rather ask you to describe your DJ curation sound.
Okay, so I love playing more like neo soul, R&B, hip hop. I dabble in a little bit of house. The BPM's a little bit too fast for me, but I think I'll get there. It
is.
But so I love playing BPM. For people that don't know what that means, is like beats per minute between like 80 to 100. That's like my sphere of what I like, in terms of like in terms of like slow to fast vibe. So more on the like chill type of and I love playing I just literally love playing stuff I would jam to.
Let's move over to Burning It Up on describing her sound or her DJ curation sound.
You know what? I think I definitely have an R&B sound, but the way that I curate my sound is all about nostalgia. So even new songs that sound like early 2000s, I'll gravitate towards that. I mean, there's some amazing the new genre that's urban contemporary, like your Frank Ocean and your Sir and your Lucky Day and that kind of thing is amazing. But I'm all about like the Neptunes, like Timberland, like that old school early 2000s sound. So anything that gets that kind of nostalgia going would definitely be something I gravitate towards playing. Also 80 to 100, but I've been pushing it to 130. So I want to get into boogie and disco, which is again taking it back. So I'm all about the nostalgia and just living in the past like that. Yeah.
Nice. Do you consider yourself an old soul, Laverne?
Definitely. I'm probably like, I should be like a grandma DJ. Like, I just want to do day events, end at 3. I want to be in my gown by 9, like, all of the warm bath.
That's what lockdown turned us into.
Yep. Oh my goodness. And how about you, Lynn?
Sorry, what was the question?
Would you consider yourself an old soul?
Oh, and also, yeah, I think so. I do also gravitate towards like old school hip hop, like 90s R&B, like Biggie, Nas, Erykah Badu, like that type of things I love playing. I guess it's also because going clubbing when I was 16 with my older brother, like that was the things they were listening to, and growing up listening to him play like Jay-Z and like all those type of artists is definitely what influenced me for sure with my sound.
Tell us what DJing has brought to you in terms of opportunities.
Okay, well, besides like monetary opportunities and another source of income, it also obviously brought me so many actually friends around the world, because you tend to like DJ connects with DJ, real recognize real, so it's definitely brought me like a whole bunch of new friends, and also I think a platform to express myself. It's like DJing is so cool because it's a one-man kind of thing. I mean, you can have help and whatever, but it's really a canvas that I find, like, if it's an hour set, it's like an hour canvas of what I want to paint or what I want to do. And it brings you that kind of like sense of you controlling your own source of income. And I think Lynn can attest, like with makeup also, you can choose what gigs you want to take. You can choose, that kind of thing. So that entrepreneurial thing, it actually really sparked that in me. And I mean, that's just besides the music. It's such a life lesson through the navigation of your rate and like who you network with and who you speak to and things like that. So yeah, personally, it's a great way to grow. Yeah.
How about you, Lynn? What type of opportunities has DJing brought you?
I definitely agree with most of the things Laverne said. Definitely in terms of like meeting amazing people. I think that this industry has definitely connected me to people all over the world that I can call like my homeboys and homegirls today. So super grateful for music and connecting people. And I mean, like, music is a universal language. We don't have to speak the same language, but we can connect through sound and through music. So to me, that's amazing. And then in terms of like gigs that I got to play, some cool like international, like a party called Everyday People that is based in LA. I had the opportunity to play Everyday People when they came down to Cape Town. It's basically an event that travels the world, and they just play in different parts of the world. So that was really cool. And I know that the future is looking bright when we do get back into normal life. So yeah.
That's so, you know what? I think it's just in general with music, it's so powerful how it connects people all over the world. And the way that this world has become virtual has obviously made more opportunities for that kind of interaction. So people have been modifying ways of, like DMs are now a thing in Instagram and I don't know, SoundCloud messages. Am I right, Laverne?
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's brought on more than just like music connections, but I won't double into that. I'm very private about my personal life. So yeah, I respect everyone else.
You find that musicians are normally like, or DJs, I think in general, they're private about it. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. If you think about it, like I've noticed all my international homies or all my DJ homies, they're not very like super public.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's also got to do with the fact that, I mean, if I speak about myself as a performer, so in case you don't know, Lynn, I'm a violinist. I'm also a singer, but then I also do composition in the back. I'm classically trained in composition. So I understand both being in the forefront and being in the back. And I think with DJing, like you understand more about being behind, the disc, and in a way that kind of it kind of signifies, your persona in a way of like, I'm putting out music here, but I'm not exactly putting out like all of me, because I'm selective, and there's the curation part. I'm selective about, what I want to put out. And I don't know if you resonate with that, Laverne and Lynn.
Yeah, I think it's such a vulnerable thing to be on stage, even if it's a booth or a stage. So the vulnerability that you express there, it's sometimes for me, it's so overwhelming. So I don't want people to like know anything else about me. I mean, they can come up and ask me, but you only know me for my music, and that should be it. Like it's such a vulnerable thing to be so exposed. So
yeah, definitely. I feel like we are definitely going into a general discussion right now, but so I almost want to tie in what Laverne actually said earlier about making networks over, virtually, and also tie it into the theme of Verningitup Cape Town, which is obviously to empower women creatives, and ask you the question of, how do you think the community or society, let's rather say community, of women DJs is flourishing at the moment in your eyes? And let's start with Lynn on that topic.
Sorry, a message popped up on my screen. Do you just want to repeat that? I was like, clearly can't multitask. Sorry.
It's all good. So basically, Laverne said something about networking earlier, networking virtually over SoundCloud, many platforms, and within the theme of Verningitup Cape Town, to empower women artists or women creatives. I kind of want to pop in the question of how do you think the community of women DJs is flourishing or evolving? If you can give your own opinion on that, Lynn.
I definitely think it's growing tremendously, which is great. And it's amazing to see more females in this industry, because as we know, it's a male-dominated industry, and they still think that it's their industry, like they own it. I remember the one time I played an event, I won't mention any names, and I played first, and it was a hip-hop event, and I had this one DJ. He's quite old in the game, like he's probably been playing for the past 20, 30 years. And he came up to me and he was like, you won't last long in this industry because you still want to have kids and you want to have a family. So your time here is short. And I just literally just looked at him and I walked away, because I was like, you don't determine my future for me. Like, and still thinking that this is your industry, like males own it. Like, that's a thing of the past. Like, besides music, there's so many other industries where females are taking over, and it's a shame for guys to think that like they own it and they own us, and that type of mentality. So it's amazing to see that females are that there's more female artists in music and DJing, and yeah.
I think it's interesting that people often tend to reduce us to our biology and our traditional roles, of course, but it's ironic because DJing is not a traditional role. Although it may have started with men. I actually, you know what? I'm not even schooled about the history of DJing, so you can tell me that. But what I'm assuming right now is that production and DJing, that kind of world, was kind of instigated by men. So technology and all that stuff, it's very a man crazed type of world. And one would say that, women just don't belong in that world. But what if you just naturally gravitate towards it? And in both of your cases, you have. So it's just empowering to see that you have taken on that role and turned it into something that is authentic to you. And whether you have kids or not, and in fact, we want to talk about motherhood in the creative industry. I know I want to be a mother, but I know that there are definitely ways that this world is introducing where you can be both a mother and a creative, because it's a busy life, right? Vern, what do you have to comment on the community of women DJs, and I guess also this kind of conversation about it being a man-dominated space?
I think, like you mentioned earlier on, we women like me and Lynn, we took it upon ourselves to learn the software and just have fun with it. And I see it's more a natural, organic introduction into the industry from women, where they really love music and they found a controller or they have someone teaching them quickly, and then they just get the hang of it. And that's nice because it's organic, and maybe sometimes it's like they want to look cool, but mostly women are entering the industry because they love music and they're sick of men not playing what they want to hear, and they just want to make their own thing. So I must admit, we still have a long way to go in terms of lineup and availability of female DJs in Cape Town, because one of the questions is, what's it like being a woman DJ? And you always get booked because there's only one slot available on the lineup, and they would never, don't dare book two females on one lineup. But that needs to change, and it's because there's not that many that's ready to play CDJ and controller or whatever. So I think we need to grow in the availability of female DJs. Like you can just choose from the array of, so yeah, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like being a woman DJ at the moment is a spectacle rather than an identity?
It's like an aesthetic in a sense when they add a female to the lineup, but to give some femininity or like just like some pop of color, to like male domination. And almost women can easily become a brand. So like a streetwear, like, I don't know, hip hop girl will fit the brand of like Adidas Classic Party or something. And like a ditzy, cute, fun girl can play a house event. Something like, it's just like they box us and they want that aesthetic attached to the event. So yeah, that's what I feel.
I agree. I just feel like they're scared that we'll just obviously just own the ship,
Yeah. It's a pride thing. Yeah, they're so scared.
I think so. I mean, if you look at the history of how things become new or how things evolve, there's always this friction between what's old and what's new. And it's a preservation thing, unfortunately, They're, as much as people don't want to admit that they're traditional, they actually are, especially in our world, So I think it's just important to have these conversations. And hopefully one day we can bring men onto the That's a Fact platform to actually, bring in their own opinions. Because I know of men that would say, women don't belong in this industry, but then you've got someone actually doing it. So what do you have to say about that? Yeah. This is kind of like a psychological question, but what does DJing mean to you? What is the meaning? What's the deeper meaning of DJing to you? And let's start with Lynn.
To me, it's therapeutic. It's amazing to know that, like, when I'm behind the decks, to me, I'm just having fun. It's mind-boggling to know that I'm controlling the crowd. Like, this is all in my hands, So it's actually a lot of pleasure, but it's an amazing thing to know that, like, I'm controlling people.
How about you, Laverne?
In the same way, it's like bringing joy. You should never leave a set like upset. Like, the people should obviously enjoy themselves. And also it's a massive educational tool. to put people on new things. Because ultimately, I think that's what DJs was back in the day. Got the latest records from the vinyl store and then play it, and then people are like, oh my gosh, what song is that? So yeah, definitely educational, bringing like unknown to the platform.
Definitely, I agree. I feel like it should always be that. Like, personally speaking, like, I don't play much commercial music. Like, I love playing. I mean, there's so much music out there. Why would I want to play what you can hear on Good Hope FM and Heart FM and all those like radio stations? Like, I want to put you onto something. Like, when I'm playing, I want you to be taking out your phone and Shazamming to be like, what is you playing? So yeah, it should definitely always be an educational thing. Definitely, you should be putting people on to music.
I really like that description of DJing. I've never heard it in that way. To be educational and also to just, not subscribe to what's already on radio, because they're already doing the job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you ever consider playing classical music? Just thought I'd throw it in there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think you would. You get
obviously with a beat.
Yes, but I mean, being exposed to production now, there's so many things you can do with a beat. And, music is so complex. So there could be some like fire classical music out there. We must just listen to it. Yeah.
Mashup. If it's a mashup, I mean.
Yeah.
With classical songs like Alia or something like.
Oh, the vocal. Yeah, like R&B vocal with classical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. Like, plotting happening. I think there was this Ibiza DJ, I don't know who it is, but he mixes like Spanish sounds, Spanish or Ibiza or Mediterranean sounds with classical music. I can't remember what his name is, but I'm gonna send that to you guys, and I'm gonna like plant the seed in your brain and see what you guys come up with, maybe in the, I don't know, near or far future, who knows.
Yeah.
Ladies, I
Amazing.
think that concludes our conversation. The only thing to do now is to state your affirmation. So I'll go first, and we'll follow with Laverne, and we'll follow with Lynn. Yeah. So my affirmation is, let's see. Curate your uniqueness and share it with the world. And that's a fact.
My name is Verningitup, and I design joy. And that's a fact.
Love by intuition and experience, and your whole life will be a revelation. And that's a fact.
Amazing.
Oh, yes.